Hello everybody, and welcome back to Doki Doki Literature Club. We're on the last side story that, isn't the secret one, and it's self-love. And this one is apparently about Natsuki and Yuri, which makes sense since where we left off with the reflection chapter. Yuri was trying to kind of write a letter for Natsuki to kind of heal their broken friendship, which I guess they technically weren't friends yet, but I guess it's more to build their friendship. Anyway, the point is that's kind of where this one's going to pick up, which is kind of obvious. So, let's just go ahead and get right into it. It's only been one day since Yuri's letter was delivered to Natsuki, with Monika's help. Because Yuri chose not to attend the club meeting that day, she and Natsuki haven't faced each other since. Although it's only lunchtime, Yuri finds herself anxiously counting the hours until she will need to face the outcome of her efforts, whether good or bad. And because the passing by of students was making her feel even more anxious, Yuri picked out the most she could find to spend her. Because this staircase is under maintenance, no student would have any reason for coming here. I was wondering why there was a scaffolding and a sign there in the background. It's such a relaxing feeling to have a moment of solitude in the middle of a frantic school day. I was about to say, is Natsuki going to interrupt? You... What are you doing here? I just... Yuri enough force to wrinkle the paper beneath the pressure of her thumbs. Well, what are you doing here? I just came to get a drink from the vending machine. The other one is out of the drink I like. Yuri notices Natsuki fidgeting with a few coins between her fingers. She nods, avoiding eye contact. Natsuki, also looking away, shuffles over to the vending machine. It's so quiet that every one of her movements seems to reverberate through the entire stairwell. After far too long, she finally receives her beverage, which she then fidgets with in place of the coins. It's some kind of iced tea. But instead of leaving it right away, Natsuki's in place. She glances all around. It's like quiet back here. It's creepy. I mean, that's not what I meant, really. I mean, it's really cool that it's your thing, or whatever. Like, I can see how it suits you, so... Not because I think you're creepy or something. I didn't mean that either. I'm just gonna stop talking. That seems like a good idea. Yeah, you're kind of digging your grave there, Natsuki. It's okay. Everything is okay. Yuri finds herself attempting some words of comfort after hearing Natsuki stammer herself into dejection. Seemingly in response, Natsuki approaches the base of the staircase and hesitantly sits herself down near Yuri. Well, I can leave if you want. Yuri shakes her head. Natsuki twists the cap off her drink and takes a sip. Despite receiving Yuri's general permission, Natsuki doesn't say anything more. Yuri continues to read, or at least pretends to. And the two just sit there for a long time. The tension seems to fade a little bit as time passes. Even without any words, this seems to mean at least something, though it's not clear what that may be. Lunch ends more quickly than expected. Natsuki is the first to stand up with her empty drink bottle. Are you coming today? To the club? Yuri nods. I'm sorry for being so awkward. I'm really bad at talking about this stuff. I just can't for some reason. I don't know why. But I want to, eventually. Rush. I promise. Thanks. It's the next day. Natsuki appears from around the corner and steps up to the vending machine, glancing at Yuri as she does so. Today, she seems to be holding some kind of book as well. Oh, you're here again. Well, I just came here to read this because there aren't any people around here. Oh, I thought you didn't like how quiet it was. Well, I don't, but there's no people here. I see. Natsuki sits down. The mood feels much different today than it did yesterday. I can tell according to the background music. After yesterday's lunch and the club meeting that followed, Natsuki and Yuri are beginning to feel more relaxed again. Although Yuri's letter is still lingering in the back of Natsuki's mind, she continues to detour around it. But it's okay that I'm here? Yeah, I don't care. I mostly just don't feel like dealing with the crap I get from my friends about it. Especially since, they all just assumed I stopped reading manga after I joined the literature club. Not that I'm trying to hide it from them exactly, but I just don't want to come up with it now after I've waited so long for this new volume to come out. literally months at this point. You don't have other friends who are into manga? Not unless online friends count. And Sayori, but that's different because she's not exactly into it. She just likes it. You know what I mean? Honestly, you're lucky that the books you're into at least just look like books, so you don't have to feel like everyone is constantly judging you by what you're reading. That would be so awful, especially since I already hate attention so much. Well, it's a good thing I have thick skin, I guess. By the way, I would totally recommend finding some friends online if you haven't already. If you're like me, and have no one to share your hobbies with. Oh, I have online friends. Since middle school, actually. I was especially desperate back then. It's somewhat embarrassing to reminisce about those days. Sometimes I feel like the me from a few years ago would have benefited from a good smack across the face. Oh, whatever. We were all just stupid kids back then anyway. Some of the fanfics I wrote, thank God I used a pseudonym. But I liked it at the time. I got a lot of fulfillment out of it. And plus, I can look back and say with confidence that I've become a better person since then. So I don't think I would change anything. I wonder if a few years from now, we'll think about our current selves. Probably. That doesn't make you feel uncomfortable? No, of course not. I don't care what other people think of me, especially someone who doesn't even exist yet. Alright, here. Natsuki raises her hand to her face and forcefully slaps her own cheek. That's me from the future coming to terms with me right now. Also, ow! I didn't mean to do it that hard. Yuri doesn't seem to react. But then, to Natsuki's surprise, Yuri shyly looks the other way before lifting her arm and doing the same thing to herself, loudly smacking her cheek. She turns red and stares into her lap, but is unable to hide a smile as though it was a really funny joke. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. I didn't know you had it in you. I don't. I don't even know why I did that. Maybe I thought it would be funny. Distracting you. Looking forward to reading, but I keep all this nonsense to your reading. Oh, right. Well, Natsuki was talking the most, so I don't understand how that's Yuri's fault, but okay. Yeah, I guess I'll do that then. The conversation ends quickly, and Natsuki opens her book. The two read silently for the remainder of the lunch hour, but the whole time, Yuri feels distracted by a twist of regret over having so abruptly forced the end of their conversation. You're back. Yeah, I'm here to lay low again. Another day has passed. During lunchtime, Natsuki finds herself having wandered to the stairwell once again. Or, well, once more. Hey, did you buy that? Natsuki quickly notices a bottle of iced tea on the staircase where she normally sits. Yuri nods, avoiding eye contact. What, like for me? But you didn't know I was coming here today. What if I didn't show up? Well, I would have drank it myself, I guess. It was a stupid thing to do. No, it wasn't stupid. I just thought... What I meant to say is thank you. And that it's a really nice gesture. It's okay if you don't feel that way. I do. It was the other things that I didn't mean. I swear, please believe me. Yuri pauses, then nods. Talking is hard. I get it wrong a lot too. So I believe you. Natsuki exhales in relief. She then sits down next to Yuri and takes the drink. Knowing Yuri, she was probably overthinking it so much that that Natsuki's tepid response filled her with self-doubt. I'll do something nice for you next time. Please, don't feel obligated. I want to. I want to do nice things too. Okay. Thank you. You can thank me after I figure out how to do something nice. I'll do it then too. Natsuki sighs. Nothing. It just reminds me how I haven't been getting along with my friends lately. Is that why you've been coming here? Well, no, not exactly. I haven't been avoiding them on purpose or anything. There are just other things I'd rather be doing during lunch lately. I like being around them when we're all just having fun, but they also can't just take anything seriously. So when I'm, feeling serious, then their attitude just really get on my nerves. It's only gotten worse ever since I joined the literature club. How come? I don't know. I feel like I used to be really good with just putting up with it, because it would be so stupid to cause drama over a joke I didn't like or something. But I just have a hard time doing that lately. But it's my fault for being overly sensitive. If I have a problem, I'm not going to demand for everyone around me to change. But, yeah, I know. Monica and Sayori really don't agree with that kind of thing. But they're not in my position, so it's easy for them to say you should just communicate your feelings or whatever. It's not like my friend that kind of thing. I would just be making an embarrassment of myself. Sorry, none of this has anything to do with you. I don't know why I'm talking about it. It's okay. I like listening. What? Listening to other people's problems? Yes. Haha, that's weird. Sorry. I like learning about people. Do you think it's weird? No, that's not weird. I probably just misunderstood, so... I don't know. Does that mean I should keep going? If you'd like. Okay. Well, I don't know what to talk about now. What are some things that you like about your friends? A lot of things. I mean, they're really fun to hang out with, like after school on the weekends. And they really like my baking. And it's fun to complain about school together. They make me laugh a lot, and we have a lot of good memories and inside jokes. Oh, I'm bad at a lot of those things. So, are those all things that are important to you? Well, kind of, but they're not things I need to get out of everybody. Everyone in the club is really different from that, but I'm still friends with them too. Well, Sayori really likes your baking, and she makes you laugh, and she complains a lot. Doesn't mean she's anything like my other friends. Well, unlike them, she's a nice person who cares about your feelings. Excuse me? How about you don't talk that way about my friends that you don't know anything about? Natsuki stands up. No, wait. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I didn't want to say something bad. Please don't leave. Natsuki sighs and shakes her head. It's fine. As long as you understand that you can't just judge people like that. I'm sorry. Natsuki sits back down. You can't just compare friends like that and, like, measure who's better than who. Everyone's different. I'm sorry. I just don't like people who want to hurt you. A moment of silence stretches between them. They don't want to hurt me. We just have to tease each other about stupid things. It's fun. I don't like that. Well, that's why I'm friends with them and you're not. You like it? Just don't worry so much about me. You didn't answer the question. You don't like it. It's not worth it. I'm sorry. I wish I knew how to help with social conflicts. Like how Monica can. Good at these things. Not really. Also, I don't always want help. Sometimes it's just stuff I have to deal with myself. That's what Monica and Sayori never seem to understand. Sometimes all you do is look at them wrong, and they're all like, "Aw, what's wrong? Is everything okay?" I just want to mind my own business sometimes, and decide myself if I want to talk about things. The only one who understands that is you. So you really shouldn't be so hard on yourself. You're not as bad as you think. Oh, you don't need to reassure me or anything. I mean that. Plus, it makes sense that someone who doesn't talk a lot would make a good listener. Thank you. You're... It's really hard for me. It doesn't come naturally at all. It's so weird because I always think of someone who can just say whatever they mind. But I feel like that only works when I'm annoyed, or upset, or I want to say something mean. Why am I like that? You don't have to answer that. I'm just talking to myself. Yuri nods and remains silent. Natsuki notices her fidgeting with the pages of her book. How come you're, like, reading so much? Oh, well, a lot of reasons. But I just get sucked into it so easily. It's so immersive. Like, I want to be a part of it. I think there are a lot of things about people in real life that make me feel uncomfortable, and especially when it conventions or actions. Don't really understand it, and I have no real desire to participate. But it's different with books. It feels like I always want to be characters. I feel such a strong emotional connection with them in ways that I've never felt with real people. So, in that way, it can feel more real than real life. Really? It's that hard for you to be around people? Like, all the time? Fairly often. Especially in group settings. When people are making all kinds of conversation and saying jokes and all of that, I don't know what to do, and I just disengage. Oh. That doesn't get lonely? I don't think so. I can still enjoy spending time with people one-on-one. I have online friends too, of course. Do you ever wish that you could be friends with the characters in your books? All the time. Sometimes so badly that it makes my heart ache. God, me too. Books, video games, movies, I'm the same freaking way. Yeah, me too. Really? Mm-hmm. A lot. Like, more than anything. After Natsuki mutters that, silence fills the stairwell once more. But it's a mutual silence. One full of understanding. And that's part one. Didn't get any music or anything, so we'll just move right on to the part two. And I think I just said I'm going to go ahead and do the last one too. Oh, self-hate and social anxiety. Ooh, man. But yeah, I'm probably going to go and do that final secret one as well. In this same setting. So. Hey. Oh. I almost thought today. Yeah, well. Lunch is already more than halfway over. Natsuki had typically been meeting Yuri in the stairwell much earlier, since it had been a good way of dodging her friends when she didn't feel like seeing them. Today, she's holding a large plastic container in both hands. I ran into my friends, so I hung out with them for a while. Is that so? Yeah. I was in a good mood today, so I figured I should. I hadn't seen them in a while, which I had to come up with an excuse for, but I expected that. Plus, I have way more of these than I know what to do with, so I figured I would share them too. As she sits down, Natsuki opens the lid of her container. You made cupcakes. You know it. It's been a while at this point, so I figured it was about time again. You can take one if you want. Yuri takes a cupcake and carefully twirls it between her fingers. It's brown, with dark green frosting, immaculately shaped into a floral pattern, and topped with some kind of glittery powder. How pretty. I just ate, so I may not be able to finish it. Are they for the club? Yeah, I guess so. I didn't really think about it, I just made them. Ah, I just thought that because green is Monica's favorite color, right? Well, yeah, but that's not really... Yuri takes a small bite. This is green tea flavored. I love... Oh. It was just a random idea I wanted to try, so... Don't laugh at me. I'm not. I just felt happy. Oh, sorry. Usually when... Never mind. What I mean is that I'm glad. Sorry for saying dumb things again. I just wanted to do something nice. And this is something that I can happen to be good at. And I do know that you like them from past experience. Yuri turns red, recalling the last time she treated herself rather generously to Natsuki's cupcakes. Ironically, her mouth is too full of cupcake for her to stammer an excuse, so she just settles for a disapproving look. How did you get into baking? Oh, well, I don't know. It kind of just always appealed to me. Well, a few years ago, I read this one manga with a lot of baking, so I got like super into it for a while. I was probably making stuff almost every day. But it's something like that. But it's something that I always knew I liked anyway. It's like baking is like art, but when you get good at it, it gets more delicious too. I'm struggling to imagine myself putting my heart artistic, knowing that it would just be eaten afterwards. Yeah, maybe you're too practical for it. I think I prefer to be on the receiving end. That's my other favorite part about it. It's something that I can do that makes a lot of people happy, like unconditionally. Everyone is always so thankful, and in that moment, you get to be like the bringer of joy. I don't know, it just makes me feel... Dude. I guess that. So you were able to friends today? Anything to make up with the writing or anything. You weren't? Maybe I misunderstood. It only turns into a fight if I lose my cool. And that's just unnecessary drama. It only makes things worse. So, they're not going to stop? I mean, it only happens sometimes anyway. It's just the way they are. I'm the only who ever has a problem with it. It's not worth it. Especially if I have somewhere to go now when I don't feel like hanging out with them. Oh, I see. The cupcake's empty foil wrapper audibly crinkles as Yuri clenches a fist. I'm glad that the situation is resolved. And that you don't have to avoid them anymore. Yeah, me too. And I don't have to bother you during your alone time anymore. I'm sure you have a lot of reading to catch up on. Yeah. I know that cupcakes are basically nothing compared to all the stuff you've done for me. But it's the best I can do. So you can have the rest of them. Natsuki grabs the box and slides it over to Yuri's feet. Yuri stares at the box. Then she shakes... Then she shakes her head and slides them back. You should save them for your other friends. Save them for you. His voice whines as she protests. I know. I like them very much, exactly as you thought. You succeeded. But I know you care about making your other friends happy too. And if this is the way you know how to make that happen, then I'm not going to take it from you. No, they were making you happy. You make me happy. You're worth more than cupcakes to some people. That's why they want to spend time with you. And without warning, tears pour from Natsuki's eyes. She pulls her knees to her chest and starts sobbing into her arms. Natsuki, I'm such a bad person. Yuri stammers, feeling panicked. I didn't mean to say something bad. Natsuki shakes her head and wipes her eyes. You didn't. Natsuki tries to choke back her sobs, but struggles to speak through them. I just really hate myself sometimes. And it feels so wrong when you say those nice things to me. Like I don't deserve it. I'm sorry. No, I am. I'm so difficult. And I can't think of even a single thing about myself that somebody would like. And I hated myself for bothering you during lunch. I just thought it was my chance to be a good person, like to be nice and do the things you wrote about in the letter. I knew if I tried in the club, Sayori and Monica would be super annoying and make a huge deal out of it. You know, I think a lot of those negative things too, about myself. I never felt like a good person. I always scrutinize I say, and later I said all the wrong things. And I just spent so much time about myself, hating myself, and feeling like everyone else must hate me too. So, I understand some of that through my own experience. And that's why I wanted to write the and express my feelings. It pained me to see those things in someone else that I saw in myself. Natsuki sniffles. Yuri rustles through her bag and pulls out some tissues, then hands them to Natsuki. Monica told me that it takes a good person to reflect on these things. The desire to improve yourself, that makes you a good person. So don't worry so much. You know, she's actually got a point there, because I always constantly think I'm a bad person. But I do have a really strong desire to improve myself, which is why I tell people to help me with that, because I can't always do that myself. Especially when I don't have all the information about what's right and wrong and the things that I say and do. But I have such a strong desire to improve myself so that way I'm not a bad person. And yeah, I may do bad things. I may make mistakes. But if I can learn from them, then I can be a good person. And that's technically still wrong to think like that, because by just wanting to be a better person, by wanting to be a good person, I'm a good person. But at the same time, like, that's just what everybody else would think. And me, I don't think I'm a good person yet. But at the same time, I do. I don't know. It's confusing. Like I know what I'm saying. I know what I mean, but I don't know how to say it. It's confusing to try to say it. But the point is, yeah, everybody should feel like that. Where if want to be a good person, It's the people who don't want to be good people that are the bad people. You know, people like a certain president that I'm not going to name, because then everybody's just gonna probably get all riled up later on. But a certain Oompa Loompa looking president that we had, yeah, definitely not a good person. Not want to be a better person. He did not try to improve himself. He just actually made it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So no, definitely not a person. But me, I try to improve myself so much so I can be a good person. And it's like, even when I feel like a bad person, I need to start remembering, no, I'm trying to be a good person, so I am a good person. I may not be perfect. Nobody's perfect. Literally, not a single person on this planet is perfect. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to screw up. We're all going to do something bad. But that doesn't make us. Makes us bad if we keep doing it and we don't regret it. If you do something bad and you don't regret it and try to avoid doing it again, then you're a bad person. But you're a good person if you make the mistake and do your best to avoid repeating that mistake and then wanting to not make that mistake again. I guess it's the other way around there, where it's wanting to not make the mistake again and then trying to not repeat it. But you get my point, though. That's what makes a good person. That's what she's saying, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. Also, there are things about you that people would like, so... Oh, damn, acid reflux. Ugh. Like what? Like how you're fun for people, and you're not shy, and you know how to make people laugh, and you're very passionate about things, and you know how to lead, and you care a lot about other people, and just a lot of things. Oh. Making me feel really embarrassed. Well, you're the one who asked. And don't you think I feel embarrassed? Natsuki tries to hide a smile. Then she sighs as it fades again. Every time I come here, I always think it's the last time. But then I keep coming back for some reason. Is that bad? Just really confusing. I mean, my friends and I go way back, so ditching them all the time feels like... I don't know. Feels like what? Natsuki's voice gets quiet. Maybe I'm scared they'll get mad at me. I really don't know what to do. Yuri stares and tracing her eyes along the floor tiles while she thinks to herself. Wait, tracing her eyes along the floor patterns? That actually is me, though. Whether it's wall patterns, floor patterns, ceiling patterns, if there's a pattern somewhere, my eyes will just literally trace what I'm thinking. What would you do, hypothetically, if your friends were happy for you instead of mad at you? Happy for what? Happy that your new club is making you happy. Well, that's just not a fair hypothetical. Natsuki says that, but with little confidence in her voice. I always told myself that I don't rely on the approval of others to be happy. And I still feel that way, but I'm spending time with people who put me down whenever I don't have their approval. That's probably what's making me feel so confused. Because I'm threatened out of the things that should make me happy. So no matter what, it's like I have to be unhappy to be happy. It's making my head hurt. That must make it really difficult to feel comfortable with yourself. Being made to feel like you're wrong just for being the person you are. It really goes against everything I believe in, doesn't it? It goes against the kind of person I want to be. I'm fed up with it. I'm fed up with a lot of things. Natsuki presses her palms into her forehead and shakes her head. I know what's best for me, but I keep convincing myself out of it. It's so much easier to be comfortably unhappy than it is to do something so scary. And I don't want to try to sidetrack, I guess. That's accurate, but at the same time, you gotta move past that thinking, too. Like my one friend who I want to try to move in with, just try to get closer to them and try to move forward with both of our lives together. They wanted to try to come up with excuses to not do it, like, oh, I don't want to leave this one friend behind, or I don't want to leave my grandma behind. Don't really care about my family so much, I want to get away from them anyway, but my grandma I don't want to leave behind, my friend I don't want to leave behind. I want to finish school, I want to actually go to college and finish it, and there's always some new excuse, and it's like, it's frustrating, but I get it. Because it is scary. I mean, you'd rather be comfortably unhappy than do something risky and scary. But at some point, you gotta realize that doing the scary thing, it may lead to something worse, and you could always go back to the comfortably unhappy thing. If the scary thing ends up being something worse. But there's an equal chance that scary thing is gonna be better. And then it'll make you not want to go back. Like, because I was always trying to tell my friend, I'm like, look, if you want to go see your friend, I will gladly help you go visit them. I will help them come visit you. Same thing with your grandma. If you want to go visit her, fine, be my guest. I'll help you do it. I'm not going to keep you hostage once we move in together. I'm not going to be like that. If you want to go, then you can go. If you want to pay for it, fine. If you want me to pay for it, even if you don't want me to pay for it, I'll still pay for it. I don't want to keep my friend from doing the things they want to do. But it seems like they can't get past that enough to want to be like, to want to be willing to do it. They don't want to move, specifically don't want to move with me, because they're just comfortably unhappy. And that's, I mean, I guess it's okay for a while, but at some point you gotta be like, I want to be genuinely happy, and comfortably unhappy is not the same as happy. Like, and on top of all those other things too, like, because, again, I don't want to go into detail, but they do have a pretty messed up life so far, and it doesn't help that they live in a very bad city, because I live in the U.S. and so do they, so the city that they live in is literally in the top 10 worst cities in the United States. I'm not gonna say which one, but it's in the kind of like Pennsylvania, New Jersey kind of area, like that New England area. And the thing is, they're close to Jersey as well. So not only is their city in that top 10, but there are 4 cities from New Jersey alone in that list. So half of the list of top 10 worst cities in the United States is in that general area. There's Chicago. No, Chicago wasn't one. Detroit, Michigan was one. Flint, Michigan was one. I think there was one in the south, like in like the south middle, I guess, so like Texas or something around there. There was one in California, I think. I mean, there were a couple, but yeah, the one they live in was one of the 5 in the New England area that are considered the worst cities in the country. And that alone should be enough to want to move. One friend and a grandma should not keep you rooted in a city that's tearing you down. That's even before all the trauma in their life and all the other depression and stuff, and that's just a lot. And I feel like because of that, they feel stuck. And I don't want them to feel stuck anymore. I want them to be able to want to go out and do things, explore the country, explore the world, figure out their life. And they're unwilling to do that because they're comfortably unhappy. And I don't know what to do. And it sucks, because I really care about them, but they don't care about themselves enough to want to move on. So, yeah, it's hard. Anyway, to do what? You know, to end it with them. Natsuki nods. I didn't think you were actively considering that as an option. I wasn't until recently. It's just one of those things where, like, it's been a certain way for so long that you just get used to it. Like, so much of you has gone into it, so much that it feels like that's just how your life is. And throwing it away is like throwing away such a big part of your life. It makes me feel sick to think about. Natsuki sighs. It's just really scary. It's terrifying. What are you scared of? I don't know. A lot of things. Like being alone. Not having anyone to talk to or hang out with. Not being able to replace what I have with them. I don't want them to hate me. And I'm scared they'll hurt me just for going against them. Physically? Not physically, but Yuri clenches her fists. Natsuki. What? If anyone even thinks to cause you harm, I will unleash hell upon them. Natsuki snorts in laughter. Don't laugh at me. Sorry, I was just I like that. That's all. Oh, well, I meant it. I know you did. Well, I know you did. Natsuki gives Yuri an endearing look. I needed it. Mm. As the conversation lapses, Natsuki again slides her box of cupcakes over to Yuri. Just take them, okay? I don't want other people to have them anymore. Are you sure? Natsuki nods. I'm sure. I will then. I'll enjoy them. Natsuki looks away, but a feeling of warmth spreads through her. She holds on to that feeling, knowing it will give her courage. The funny thing is that I'm exactly the same way with my friend. Oh boy, now I got anxiety and panic attacks. Oh god. Um, but yeah, I'm the same with my other friend, where if anybody hurts them or thinks about it or is in the middle of is about ready to do it, then I'm gonna step in and I'm gonna unleash hell, just like Yuri said. That's how I am. Like, there's one person in my friend's life who's really fucked their life up so much that sometimes I can't help but think, would it help my friend? And don't take this wrong way. I'm not gonna actually do this. I don't know. I mean, if it came down to it, I would, but I wouldn't like actively go out seeking to do this. But if it came down to it, I would probably end up honestly killing the person that hurt my friend so much. Again, if walking down the street, I may not do it because I'm just gonna, if I get caught, I get thrown in prison anyway, and it's kind of a terrible thing to do. But if they're gonna actively try to attack my friend, whether super emotionally already with all the trauma that they've inflicted upon my friend, if they're gonna try to come in and be verbally or emotionally abusive, or if they're gonna try to physically attack them, no, they're dead. Like, I don't care. Like, no, you should never resort to murder ever. Even if it's technically self-defense or defense of another person, you shouldn't immediately resort to that. But with this person, it is so bad. It really is. Like, my friend will have nightmares about this person and wake up screaming. And it's not even just because of them. Like, if me and my friend end up in an argument, like a really bad one, where we go to bed, like, angry at each other, they get upset at me because they have a nightmare about that person. Like, it's not my fault, but in the moment it is, because I was the reason for that incident happening, but the trauma wouldn't be there if it wasn't for that person. So sometimes I wonder if maybe their trauma would be lessened if this person was just gone. Because I think that's their biggest concern, is that if they're still around, they're worried that that person might come back into their life, and I think that just terrifies them. So I wonder if sometimes, I mean, again, I don't know if I'd ever go through with it unless I felt like I really needed to. But sometimes I can't help but wonder if maybe removing that person from this world would help my friend through a lot more. And it's a really shitty way of thinking, but I can't help thinking that way. My friend deserved better. And they got broken by this person. To the point where they seek people like them. They seek the same kind of person over and over and over and over again. And then they cut out their other friends. They cut me out for those people. And it sucks. So yeah, I definitely get where Yuri's coming from there with the whole "I'll unleash hell upon them" thing. Again, I don't know if I'd outright murder that person, but if it came down to it, if it was the life of my friend or their life, they're fucking dead. Anyway, You're here first today. Mm-hmm. Start reading material. Mm-hmm. Natsuki is sitting in her usual spot, this time holding a volume of manga while her lunch sits beside her. Yuri sits down as well and opens her own book. It sucks when a good series has to come to an end. Like, it's such a big part of your life, and then one day there's just nothing left. God, I felt that exact same way about Friends, and Breaking Bad, and Avatar: The Last Airbender, and also, by proxy, Legend of Korra, and so many other great shows. I mean, I'm not in the books necessarily so much. I mean, I am, but I'm not. I definitely felt that way about Ready Player One. And then when Ready Player 2 came out, I read it, and I felt the same way as soon as I finished it. It was definitely the weaker book, though. Ready Player 2 was the weaker book, but it was still good. I just hope to God they don't make a movie out of it, because the movie for Ready Player 1 was fucking terrible by comparison. If you'd never read the book, it's a decent film. If you read the book, it's garbage. It's actual garbage. And I couldn't enjoy the movie. But the point is, yeah, I feel that. It sucks when that happens. It makes you feel so empty. Yeah, it does. Unfortunately, I'm about to experience that myself. I'm on the last book of this series. That sucks. But there's also something satisfying about letting a story conclude. I don't know if I'd want it to go on forever. That's true too. Even like with Breaking Bad, people were like, "Well, what about what happened to Jesse at the end of the show?" I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't seen Breaking Bad. I mean, it's been out since what 2008 is when it started, and it ended in like 2013, 2014. So it's been out for a while. So if you haven't seen it, that's kind of on you. But I'm not gonna spoil it in case you haven't seen it because it is such an amazing show. I don't want to ruin it. But the way it ends, there's kind of like a few questions left over, like what happened to this character, what happened to that character, and what happens now, or what could happen now. And it wasn't answered for like the longest time, because instead of getting like a sequel series or a spin-off or something, well, we did get a spin-off. We got a prequel to Breaking Bad called Better Call Saul, which was about the lawyer who showed up, and I think season 2 is when he showed up first, maybe season 3. But he got a spin-off series that was a prequel to Breaking Bad. But we didn't get a continuation of the main show until 2019, when we got a movie on Netflix called El Camino, and it picks up right after the show leaves off. There's some flashbacks to kind of between the final 2 episodes, because there's kind of like a big time jump between the second to last episode and the last episode. So there's kind of like flashbacks to the in-between of that. During that time jump, there's some flashbacks, but yeah. It was still done very well, but it's one of those shows that has to end. And there are shows that should have ended a long time ago that are still going. Like The Simpsons, or Saturday Night Live, or Family Guy, or to an extent, South Park, although South Parks are doing really good, but they are kind of running out of steam, I think. Even the creators are kind of like, we don't want to go on for much longer. But, man, no, I get that too. Maybe. But there are some things that I wish could. On the other hand, have you ever read something that overstayed its welcome? Yep. Yeah, definitely. I can think of at least one thing I've read that got pretty unbearable, like halfway through, and the ending really sucked. Game of Thrones! I haven't watched Game of Thrones, but that's what I heard. So, it sucks when something good has to end, but it also sucks when they just keep inventing more plot until you don't like it anymore. Walking Dead! I guess it sucks either way. Well, that's the nature of all things. They come to an end. The two fall silent. They slowly eat while making their way through their respective reading material. Except Natsuki doesn't seem to be touching her food at all. You don't go out during the weekends, right? Excuse me? Like with friends, at the mall, or downtown, or whatever. I'm not a total shut-in, you know? Oh, my bad for making assumptions. Well, I'm sure I go out less often than other people. Like you and the others in the club. I don't really meet with friends and arbitrarily spend time like that. I'm usually meeting with my board game group. Board game group? It doesn't matter. It's just more nerdy stuff. Why do you ask, anyway? I was just curious. I just realized that I couldn't picture it, so I was just curious. Yuri looks at Natsuki and realizes that she's shaking. Don't look at me like that. Sorry. Natsuki pulls her knees into her chest and puts her head down. I can't take this. Did I do something? Yuri gets flustered, her mind racing over what she may have said or done. I did. I ended it. I texted them earlier, telling them. And I just blocked them because I'm so afraid of their responses. And now it feels like I'm dying inside. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's... I'm sorry. Totally unsure of what to do, Yuri can barely find any words of support to offer. This is kind of similar to what I went through on Christmas. I'm not going to go into details because the situation's still kind of going on and it's somewhat de-escalating, so I don't think it's really a problem anymore. But what Natsuki's going through right now is kind of what I went through on Christmas. And kind of why I didn't stream the entire weekend. Or leading up to it, anyway. Totally unsure of what to do, Yuri can barely find any words of support to offer. Meanwhile, the sound of Natsuki's unusually hard breathing fills the air. Then she speaks again, barely above a whisper. Help me. I feel sick and I want to hit my head against things. Please help. I can't take this. You may be having a panic attack. With that realization, Yuri's demeanor suddenly changes. I have experience with this, so I'll help you through it, okay? Natsuki meekly nods through her rapid breath, head still buried in her knees. Yuri slides herself over to Natsuki and sits on the step behind her. Then she puts her hands on Natsuki's shoulders. Can you feel my hands? Natsuki nods. Her shaking becomes much more apparent through Yuri's sense of touch. Yuri keeps her voice low and gentle. You're safe right now. You're in a good and safe place where nothing can hurt you. Natsuki nods once more. Although Yuri is only touching Natsuki's shoulders, she can practically feel her racing pulse through the base of her neck. We'll do a breathing exercise together. All you have to do is listen to my breaths and breathe along with me. Let's breathe in now. Yuri takes a slow, deep breath. Beneath her hand, she feels Natsuki's shoulders rise as Natsuki takes a breath of her own, trying to mimic Yuri. They exhale together, although Natsuki's breath shakes on the way out. That's good. Let's keep going. Yuri breathes in once more and Natsuki joins her. They continue like that for a few more cycles while Yuri closely monitors. Eventually, Yuri feels Natsuki rest more of the weight into Yuri's palms. Let's focus on the physical world. All you have to do is focus on the feeling of your breaths going in and out, and the weight of my hands on your shoulders. You're in a safe and comfortable physical space. Minutes pass in silence. By now, the worst of it has passed, but Yuri is determined not to move away until Natsuki prompts her to. Meanwhile, Natsuki has lifted her head off her knees, and her breathing has mostly steadied. Then she takes a final deep breath and slowly pulls herself to her feet, causing Yuri to let go. She stretches her arms. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to freak out. I don't know what my deal is. You don't have to apologize. This must be enormously stressful for you. Is that going to keep happening? It may or it may not. We can take measures to help prevent it in the future, but I think it will naturally get better over time. Natsuki motions to sit back down again, so Yuri moves over. Yuri turns away to pick up her open book from the dusty floor, which she had hastily set down earlier. She brushes the dust off the cover. I don't think I could have gotten through that alone. You're not alone. Feeling shy again, Yuri speaks into her own lap. From now on, you don't have to do anything alone. As she says that, Yuri tenses up. It's rare for her to so openly share her thoughts. But something about Natsuki, of all people, makes it feel so much more natural to do so. Perhaps because, like Yuri, Natsuki is so timid and uncertain of herself. Natsuki does such a good job at hiding it that it's taken a long time for Yuri to finally realize it. And because of that, Yuri is able to deliver the reassurance that she herself would have wanted, demonstrating that you deserve the love of others. If you can accept that for the first time, then perhaps you can begin the tumultuous journey of learning to love yourself. Aww. Do you really mean that? You're probably going to regret saying that if you do. How so? Because I'm probably going to have a lot of free time during the weekends from now on. So you're giving me permission to be as annoying as I want and drag you around to a lot of places. I see. But you already said it, so you can't take it back now. Ah, well, I suppose I have no choice but to accept that responsibility then. Mm-hmm. I know a good ice cream place. Oh, that means you'll finally figure out my favorite ice cream flavor. Huh? What are you talking about? Oh, you don't remember. The first day you came to the club, you guessed everyone's favorite ice cream flavor, but for me, you said you had no idea. Seriously? I don't remember that at all. Oh wait, yes I do. I said it was probably green tea. Yuri shakes her head. It's a good guess, but my favorite is usually get chocolate and raspberry together. Chocolate and raspberry? How fancy. How is that fancy? Oh, I don't know. I feel like I should have guessed something like that. Well, maybe next time I'll try chocolate and strawberry. Hey, strawberry is my favorite. What a coincidence. Oh. I think it helps to have something to look forward to. I still have the sick feeling in my stomach, but it's easier now to convince myself that I did the right thing. Is there anything better I could be doing? Not that I know of. There's nothing that would make this easy for me. And you already did more than I thought anyone could. Come to think of it, we never talked about the letter you wrote. But I feel like we're way past that at this point. I don't even know what to talk about. Except that I think it helped me understand my needs a little bit better. The way I like to be treated. And the kinds of friends that I want to have. That's why I wanted to start coming here in the first place, even though I was so scared of causing more problems. I thought it was a coincidence that you ran into me here initially. Oh, well, not exactly. What do you mean? Nothing. I may have tracked you down first. With the help of Sayori. But you said, I was shy, okay? I wasn't ready to, like, whatever, you know what I'm saying. Well, I guess I'm glad that you worked up the courage. Even if it was in your own way. I can tell that you've been making a lot of difficult decisions. It's brave, and it will make things better in the long run. I think anyone would be proud of you for it. Anyone? You mean, like you? Yes. Like me. You know, I could get used to this. As long as you don't tease me. Oh, that was the wrong one. As long as you don't tease me too much. Fine. Just a little then. That's fine. I know how uncertain everything feels to you right now. But I really do think that good things are in store. Those are my honest feelings. Thanks. It feels nice to be reassured. The two girls continue their conversation through the remainder of lunch. But a new feeling hangs in the air. A feeling of greater certainty in their path forward. In just a few hours, there will be another literature club meeting where the four club members will happily spend time together. Each of them, all with their own special qualities, have something unique that they can deliver to one another. Through friendship and literature, the club members will continue to grow and find new happiness together. The end of each chapter is the start of the next. Yuri thinks to herself. Since she's about to finish her long-running series, it would be best to have a new book lined up. Perhaps this weekend would be a good time to visit the bookstore. Together. Aww. And that's the end. Yeah, we got this picture now, and that should be one of the last ones. But there's supposed to be another side. Oh, yeah, there it is, equals. Okay. So, yeah, there is one more. I don't know why I didn't give me a notification for getting that one, but yeah, no, there's one more. It's equals. Okay. So, that's going to do it for this one. This probably wouldn't have run so long had I not been talking so much, but I feel like it was an important thing to be talking about. Not even just for me to kind of get my own feelings out, but just for anyone watching. Having some self-doubts or doubts about other people or anything else. But, anyway, like I said, we'll be back for that last one. It looks like it's all one part, so it's not like it's a two-part thing anyway, but it's all been one part anyway, except for the very first one. But, hope you guys are ready for that. Seems like it's going to be a pretty emotional one, because that one was really emotional that time. But, and like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. For those of you on YouTube, if you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to ring the bell to be notified of when I upload a new video. And for those of you on Twitch, make sure you're following me and that you catch the streams when I go live. And I will see you guys in the next one. Until then.